What if the very foundation of Gdulkan University was built on a plan to turn supes into gods? genv Season 2 wastes no time diving into its biggest mystery yet, Project Odessa. In just its first few episodes, the show has given us enough breadcrumbs to spark a storm of theories, and the deeper we dig, the more disturbing it gets. Between historical references, hidden Nazi memorabilia, and shocking family secrets, Project Odessa is quickly becoming the key to understanding not only Marie's past, but also the larger direction of the boys' universe. Season 2 of genv kicks off with a violent and unsettling opening scene that sets the tone for everything that follows. Scientists are seen experimenting with a strange serum to artificially acquire supe abilities. What should have been a breakthrough instead spirals into disaster, as every single test subject dies from the instability of Compound V. This brutal sequence doesn't just shock the audience, it sets up one of the main themes of the season: the instability of creating supes outside of natural births. From the very start, the show makes it clear that the dream of manufacturing more stable supes is at the heart of Project Odessa. The name alone raises questions, and as eagle-eyed fans noticed, it's not the first time the project has been referenced. We saw mentions of Odessa on the laboratory board in The Boys Season 4, Episode 4. Add to that the subtle hints dropped in genv Season 1, and it's no surprise that Odessa has exploded into one of the most discussed mysteries in the franchise. In genv Season 2, Episode 1, the fallout from Season 1 blends with the larger narrative of the boys. Marie Moreau, who ended Season 1 as both a hero and a target, is pulled back into the spotlight. Starlight briefly appears to recruit her, hinting that what's happening at Gdulkan could change everything. It's in this episode that the groundwork for Odessa starts to re-emerge, with Cipher stepping in as the new dean of Gdulkan University. Cipher's presence isn't just a leadership shakeup, it's the show planting a seed that this man has deep ties to the origins of the students themselves. His speeches hammer home the idea that, despite their powers, supes remain vulnerable because humans could always outnumber them. That constant reminder paves the way for Odessa's real motive: creating supes so powerful, so godlike, that human opposition would be meaningless. By the time we reach Episode 2, Justice Never Forgets, the clues begin to crystallize. Emma Meyer and Polarity stumble upon a hidden room in Gdulkan's library that is filled with Nazi memorabilia. This discovery immediately connects Odessa to its real-world namesake. In history, Odessa was an alleged post-World War II organization of former SS officers who created escape routes to avoid prosecution. Whether or not the original Odessa truly existed has long been debated, but the name alone is a chilling connection. The fact that Emma and Polarity find a Project Odessa file in that very same Nazi room is no coincidence. It deliberately frames the project as something rooted in sinister ideology, suggesting that Vought has been pulling inspiration not just from science but from the darkest parts of history. For Marie, this moment becomes even more personal when the file suggests a direct link between her and Odessa. Marie's investigation continues, and by the end of Episode 2, she learns disturbing truths about her own family. Her parents struggled to conceive, and in their desperation, they turned to Cipher, who at the time was practicing under the name Dr. Gold for IVF treatments. With his help, Marie was born, and Cipher himself was present at her birth. The shocking part comes when Marie learns about her younger sister, Annabeth, who was conceived naturally without any IVF assistance. Annabeth was always called a miracle child, but the implications are clear. Cipher may have manipulated Marie's genetics through his IVF treatments, while Annabeth might represent the true target of Odessa. If Cipher's goal is to engineer supes selectively, then Annabeth could have been taken away because she was considered the perfect product of the project. This raises a haunting question. Has Marie always been seen by Vought as a byproduct, while her sister was the main subject? If that's the case, it flips everything we know about Marie's connection to Odessa on its head. Episode 3 continues this thread by focusing more on Cipher's motives and his role in the new Gdulkan curriculum. He isn't just running the university. He's using it as a breeding ground for Odessa's revival. His lessons push students to think of themselves as gods in training, echoing the quote beneath Thomas Gdulkan's statue: "The path shall begin here, where mortals shall become gods." This isn't just a motivational phrase for the campus. It's a mission statement for Odessa itself. The project isn't about creating more supes. It's about creating the ultimate supe. The symbolism couldn't be clearer. Cipher envisions a future where a select few supes transcend mortality and dominate humanity entirely. For Cipher, Marie's blood-bending powers may hold the key to stabilizing Compound V, allowing it to be safely integrated into anyone. If she can unlock that potential, then Cipher could roll out Compound V to humanity on a massive scale, not only creating more supes, but ensuring they are more stable, more controllable, and more godlike than ever before. What makes these revelations more unnerving is how the show ties Odessa into both personal and global stakes. On the personal side, Marie is grappling with the knowledge that her very existence was engineered by Cipher and potentially tied to a project she never asked to be part of. Annabeth's disappearance looms large, suggesting that Vought has already claimed the sister she barely knows. On the global side, Odessa represents a terrifying escalation in the arms race between humans and supes. If Cipher succeeds, humans won't just fear Homelander anymore. They'll be forced to accept a new race of gods as their rulers. This dual conflict ensures that the mystery of Odessa isn't just a subplot, but the central storyline of Season 2, with ripple effects that will almost certainly bleed into The Boys Season 5. Episode by episode, the show is careful to drip-feed its clues. Episode 1 brings Cipher to power and plants the first seeds of Odessa's resurrection. Episode 2 unveils the Nazi connection, the hidden file, and Marie's shocking family history, linking Cipher to both her birth and her sister Annabeth. Episode 3 expands the ideological side of Odessa, showing Cipher's obsession with creating gods and hinting at how Marie's powers could stabilize Compound V. These aren't isolated mysteries. They're a chain of revelations that connect Gdulkan University's shady history to Vought's larger agenda. And when you remember that Odessa was name-dropped back in The Boys Season 4, it's obvious this is being set up as a bridge between the spin-off and the main series. So where does this leave us as Season 2 continues? There are a few possible directions Odessa could take. One possibility is that Cipher plans to use Annabeth as the prototype for a new generation of stable, godlike supes, while manipulating Marie to unlock the final ingredient for stability. Another is that Odessa could be Vought's long-term strategy to replace Homelander, especially as his erratic behavior escalates in The Boys. By positioning Marie or Annabeth as the product of decades of genetic engineering, Odessa becomes not just a side project but the central weapon in the fight for the future of supes. The Nazi inspiration also hints at a darker thematic layer. Odessa may not just be about power, but about creating a master race of supes who would dominate humanity the way Nazi ideology once sought domination. The show doesn't need to spell this out. By embedding Odessa in Nazi iconography and tying it to selective breeding, the parallels speak for themselves. In the broader scope of the Boys universe, Project Odessa could be the key to answering one of the franchise's biggest questions: how do you fight Homelander? If Odessa is about making supes more stable, more powerful, and more godlike, then it might also create someone who can rival or even surpass him. Marie's blood manipulation powers already position her as uniquely dangerous, and if Cipher is right about her potential, she could become the one person capable of turning the tide. At the same time, the ambiguity around Annabeth ensures that the show has room to surprise us.